Okay, so my swing thought. My main thing that I would think about when playing golf is what we're going to be talking about in today's video, and it's accountable for irons, wedge play, and driver as well. The simplicity of the swing thought is something that ideally, obviously, everybody wants to get to the stage to, and it's also the thing that you will get to the stage to. See, the swing thought for me is quite simply just trying to hit the inner part of the golf ball. And I mean the inner quadrant, right? So the kind of inner side of the golf ball is all I think about. And I kind of know that if I concentrate on that, that's enough for me to be able to hit the golf ball pretty straight and pretty well most of the time, whether that be something like pitching or irons or even the driver. So this simple thought of hitting the inner part of the golf ball that is holistically for me applied throughout the whole game is incredibly simple, hitting that inner part of the golf ball. But what it's doing is much deeper than that. See, what it's also doing is that I know by trying to hit the inner part of the ball that it encourages me to get the club working away in the takeaway nicely. It also helps me get the feeling of transferring my weight, so I get the weight on my right hand side and I get behind the ball. It also helps me get the feeling of keeping the weight on the right hand side and hitting the inner part of the ball. What it also does is, because I now know I've got to hit the inner part of the golf ball, it also encourages me to strike down on the back of the ball so that I'm controlling the low point and I'm not getting too shallow and too releasey. So then I know that if I aim slightly left of my target to account for the amount that I'm striking down on the ball, it all blends together and it works in my head as simple as hitting the inner part of the ball. Now, I've talked about mental representations before on the channel, but because we've been talking recently about best methods of practice, and because certain people think that analysis by paralysis is, well, potentially true, especially if you're searching in the wrong direction. See, the point is, and what I try and do on the channel and what I've always done and I'll continue to do, is that by talking about the golf swing in detail doesn't mean you have to think about everything. It's just that I'll talk about the rhyme and reason. See, most people that I meet that come for lessons are normally working on the wrong thing, or they've got the wrong idea over what it is they're doing, or they're working on a characteristical trait. So they're spending months working on something like a certain takeaway move when it's just a complete and utter waste of time because it doesn't biomechanically suit them. So the whole point of educating people on the YouTube channel is that you can understand the things that matter and the things that don't. Hopefully what that happens is similar to what I've discussed and what we see with other professional golfers. They'll often talk about, they'll get an interview and they'll say, oh, all I think about is tempo and timing. All I think about is weight transfer. It's like, possibly. But what you don't also understand is by that simple phrase, for me, like inner part of the ball, it accounts to so much more. Like I said, it accounts to my takeaway, it accounts to my weight transfer and my backswing, it accounts to my transition. But it also accounts to the fact that I know if I'm trying to hit that inner part of the ball with shaft lean, then I know that if I can aim slightly left, it'll offset that and I can have confidence hitting the ball in this manner, keeping that club face square. Obviously depending on timing. But it's so much more than just hitting the inner part of the ball. All of those things and all of those movements that I've discussed all get represented in my mind by hitting the inner part of the golf ball, which is why, as a golf coach, I can't just say to everybody else, oh, have you ever tried hitting the inner part of the ball? Because for somebody who can't stay in posture and has an early hip extension, that isn't going to be that helpful to them. So the plan is I'm going to start playing a little bit more. Now, I muted this a couple of months back, but the reason why nothing has come to fruition is, well, a couple of things, which I'll explain on the channel very soon. One of them is just actually, to be honest, I haven't had a huge amount of time over the summer holidays here. Been busy with people visiting for lessons, which has been fantastic. Obviously doing the YouTube stuff and other commitments has meant that I haven't had any time to play, but that's changing. Trying to allocate more time to play. One, nice little change of scenery for the YouTube channel, but also it maybe has a little bit more context as I talk about how I develop my game if I'm going to start playing a bit more. So the point is, can you just think about hitting the inner part of the golf ball? No, of course you can't. What you need to do, as I keep saying, and that's why I talk about the golf instruction on the site, is that you need to make sure you don't have a fault in your golf swing. If you are faultless, but you understand what it is that you're trying to work on, then what you need to do is you need to purely then focus on doing things like mirror moves. So at least doing an element of conscious competence on doing the right sort of thing. If you can do that, and you can kind of keep embedding these sort of movements in by doing 10 minutes a day, well, eventually it will turn into a subconscious process, which then means that eventually this subconscious process will turn into a thought and a feeling. And that feeling will work for you. It won't necessarily work for anybody else. So if you keep practicing, you'll get the feelings for what is right and wrong. And then eventually you'll be able to turn them into a feeling as simple as hitting the inner part of the ball. Or it might be tempo, but you have to figure it out yourself. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Remember, it's absolutely free to press that subscribe button. If you're going to do so, press the little bell icon. Make sure that you don't miss any of the upcoming videos, and the reason why, we're going to be talking about scoring. We're going to be talking about different types of shots on the golf course. Going to go back into looking at club fitting and that sort of process as well. So lots of different things coming up onto the channel moving forward over the upcoming weeks, going in towards the winter now, so that we're ready to be even better going in towards next year. So if you press that subscribe button, press the little bell icon, means you receive notifications every time a new video comes out. That basically means you won't miss a video and you won't miss the opportunity to improve your golf. I'll catch up with you guys again soon.